So hello and welcome to this yoga class. I know some of you have emailed to say, am I doing a Christmas special this year? So as requested, here it is. I know a lot of you used to miss the Christmas classes I used to put on. So I've come dressed nice and warm, Christmas jumper, Rudolph socks, a few fairy lights around me. You could actually do this class on your duvet if you wanted to. I wouldn't do it in bed, but you could put your duvet on the floor or blanket. It's good to have something cushioned on the floor. And yeah, the other props that you'll need are some sort of blanket or towel. We're just going to roll that up. You could also have a blanket to cover yourself during the relaxation at the end. 2 blocks, not essential. You could just sort of use chairs, you could use bolsters, anything that you've got around the house that's like furniture. It's just to sort of prop limbs up. And then the other thing you'll need is a belt. If you haven't got a yoga belt, you could just use a scarf, or again, you could use your towel. Yeah, so there's many things that we could use instead. What we'll be looking at and exploring is some gentle movements and passive stretching, and also looking at some of the things that I've been studying over the last year as well, so introducing some new things hopefully to you. So before we start, we're going to stimulate the body a little bit. So for this, I like to rock a little bit and shake a little bit. So we're just sort of trying to bring our mind into our body. So you can have, by all means, have the blanket underneath your head. I'm just putting it there for ease. Now this is a little bit odd because most of us don't like it when we wobble, but I'm going to encourage you to do so. Some people prefer having the knees bent and just sort of using the heels, and you can just sort of rock as if you're trying to pull the mat forwards and backwards with your heels. And what you want to try and feel is that you can feel that movement or that pulsation going all the way up into the head and the neck. So I like to sort of imagine I'm a jelly wobbling on a plate, yeah, and even my chin goes slightly up and down, but I'm not forcing it. It's not a sort of aggressive movement, it's just a sort of very gentle sort of pulsation. You could also stand up and jump if you prefer, but this does the same thing. You can try it with one leg straight and the other one bent. With the straight leg, I like to sort of point and flex the foot a little bit, and just sort of try and get all the tissues to start to move around. I'm just breathing in and out through the nose, by the way. And then I'm going to swap the legs. So I'm going to bend the other leg, straighten the other leg. And again, just trying to, this is confusing my nervous system, get that jiggling going, yeah. So this is when we could have a little bit of Christmas music on, couldn't we, in the background. And then you can either work with both knees bent or both legs straight. And again, just a few more seconds, just breathing in and out through the nose, just sort of allowing everything to be shaken up. And then we will pause and just let everything relax. What's nice after shaking things up is that you get that stillness. Often you get like a deep breath in and a deep breath out, but don't force it, just noticing what happens, almost as if you're allowing the body to land again onto the floor. And then we'll continue our sort of shaking. So we're just going to take one leg up, time to bend the knees, bring the foot to the floor. Just going to start to shake the leg. Hopefully Rudolph's nose doesn't fall off. And then the other leg. Just noticing that one leg is easier to shake than the other. And then we'll just shake the arms and hands. And then we're just going to do a little bit of tapping or cupping, or you could sort of finger tap. Just sort of all over your body, just to sort of get things stimulated and just to sort of feel, all the different nerve endings that we have in the body that we usually sort of go to sleep this time of year, and it's helping us to tune into our body. You can lightly tap around the face, around the eyes, around the jaw, around the top of the head. You could lift the head up, do the back of the neck, you could roll and do the back of the shoulders. And then after all that, we're just going to take a moment just to lie on the floor with the eyes closed. Just inviting you to breathe in and out through the nose. And just noticing how you feel just from wobbling a bit, shaking, tapping. It's like the body is this vehicle that's giving us information all of the time. And what I'm going to invite you to do is just to sort of delve inwards today, just to feel those sensations. Okay. Then let's bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. I'm just going to roll over to one side. And then what I'm going to ask you to do then is just to create a little roll. You might not even want to do this. When I first started yoga, I used to do like a huge roll. Sometimes, like I put a bolster underneath my shoulders and stuff, but literally, like nowadays, I just like just something very, very small. So I'm going to open the blanket out a bit more and just have a very small roll, which is just going to go sort of underneath the back of the rib, somewhere between sort of like the bottom of the shoulder and the lower rib. And your arms want to be above that roll, so it's just going to help to open the chest a little. So that if it's sort of underneath the top of the shoulders, that's not going to happen. I'm just going to slide that down a little bit more. And if it's comfortable, once the arms are above that roll, to have the head on the floor resting, that's fine. If not, use a cushion or a block or another blanket or another towel just to support the head. So you don't want to be uncomfortable, you want to be comfortable. But for me, I'm getting some sort of sensation. To be honest, there's more sensation in the back for me than in the front, but there's a very slight opening along the front of the chest. Again, if this feels too much at any point, like now or in a minute or 2 minutes, just sort of unroll the blanket a little bit more or unroll the towel. And then up to you for the legs. You can either stay with the knees bent, feet on the floor. I'm aware that I'm arching my lower back, so I'm just going to sort of press through the feet, lift the bum up, reduce that curve in the lower back just so that I get more stretch into the upper chest. And then, so you can either stay like this. You could, if you like, have the soles of the feet together and the knees apart into Baddha Konasana if you enjoy that. Some people prefer the feet wide and the knees together that way. Other people prefer the legs straight out. So just finding a position that you can get comfortable in. Just be aware that the chin wants to tuck slightly towards the chest, so we don't want the chin poking away from the chest too much and sort of looking towards the wall at the back. We want to sort of have the chin down, just so the back of the neck is long. And I'm just going to work with what I call the smiling breath. So I love this, it just sort of brings a bit of joy into my practice. So to start with, I'm just going to inhale through the nose, just naturally, you don't have to extend it. And what we will focus on is just extending the exhalation a little bit longer. So you're inhaling through the nose, just a natural inhalation. And then exhaling. You can exhale through the mouth or the nose. Personally, I prefer the nose. But you're looking just to try and extend the exhalation just a little bit without any force, without any pressure on yourself. And when we extend the exhalation, for most people, it's sort of like they recognize it has a calming effect. And then if it feels comfortable, after you inhale naturally through the nose, just add a very slight pause before you exhale with that extended exhalation. So you're inhaling naturally through the nose, adding a natural pause, and exhaling, extending the exhalation. Then what I'd like you to do is, as you inhale through the nose, during that pause, I want you to start to smile, And then as you exhale and extend the exhalation, allow the smile to spread through your entire body. So you're inhaling through the nose, add a little pause and start to smile like a little smirk or like someone just told you a joke. And as you exhale, just allow that, it's like an endorphin rush, the happiness, the joy,
to spread through the body. And if you're struggling, if it feels fake to have that smile, think about something funny that just happened, or something that you watched on a TV, or imagine you're in a situation when you're not allowed to laugh. That always works for me. And then, to add to that, as you inhale naturally through the nose, there's a pause and you start to smile. Imagine that there's a light that comes on inside with that. And as you exhale, just feeling that light and that joy spread through your tissues. So inhaling, there's a pause where you start to smile, you visualize a light inside. And as you exhale, you're just feeling and filling yourself with that light and that joy. And just repeating that one more time and noticing how that visualization and that breathing practice makes you feel. Okay, after that next exhalation, you should be feeling good already. We're just going to slowly bring the knees back in towards each other. If they're apart, if the legs are straight, bend the knees. And then we're going to bring the knees in towards the chest. Now I'm not going to sort of lift my bum up off the floor. I'm just having the knees just gently towards me so that the lower back and the sacrum remains on the floor. I'm actually taking the knees a little bit wider, and I'm just going to place my hands on top of the front of the knees. And what I'm going to then try and do is just rock a little bit towards the right. So I'm feeling the weight transfer towards sort of like the right side of the sacrum, right to the lower back, and just towards the outer hip. And then I'm going to slowly start to rock back towards the center and then over towards the other side. So what I want to try and imagine in my head, I'm just breathing in and out through the nose again, is that the slower I can do this, the more I'm going to start to feel the connective tissue, the more I'm going to start to feel this massage-like sensation of the floor and the weight of the body as they sort of move around together. So I just want to feel what it's like to roll as if, like someone's massaging you really slowly along the lower back. I'm also feeling then what the roll is doing sort of around the back of the ribs. So again, I'm getting a massage where the roll is, the rolled up blanket around the rib cage as well. So I'm not, you can roll, you could go further, you could do less, you could do more. I just want you to experience the sensations of rolling one side to the other. I'm not rolling all the way to one side. You could if you wanted to. And you don't want to sort of like lose, you don't want to use momentum, and you're not going really fast, you're just sort of slowing down. And if you wanted to add the breath, you could inhale and roll to one side and exhale back to center. You could do the opposite. You could exhale and roll to one side and inhale and roll towards the center. Or you could inhale to one side and exhale to the other. And just experience. Sometimes it's easier to close the eyes and just experience the sensations of rocking and that massage-like sensation on the lower back. And I'm going to bring the feet back towards the floor. I'm going to bring the left ankle to the top of the right thigh, sometimes known as the figure 4 stretch, and we're just going to keep that left foot on the floor. Now I'm just going to bring the right foot on the floor. I'm going to bring the left hand to the left inner thigh and just gently press that thigh a little bit forward just to get a mild sort of stretch along the outside of that left hip. Now I prefer to have that left foot flexed, I'm pushing into the heel. You could try pointing the toes and flexing the foot and see, like what feels different for you, which one you prefer. And then what we're going to do is start to rock a little bit. I'm going to go towards the right on the inhalation, like we were just doing, just feeling the lower back getting massaged, and then exhaling back towards the center. So again, I'm still pressing gently with that left hand, and I'm inhaling, rolling towards right side of the lower back, maybe a little bit towards the right side of the outer hip. And then exhaling back towards the center. And again, it's not really about stretching this. It's more about just feeling the sensations around that right side of the lower back, and it's sort of massaging out some of that tissue that we get, the tight tissue that we get around the sort of lumbar spine, around the sacral area. Particularly if you sit a lot, which we all tend to do this time of year. And then you can either continue doing this, or if you wish to sort of increase that sensation a little bit, you can lift the right foot up off the floor. Now you've got two options. Some people like to hold the front of the shin, other people like to hold the back of the thigh. If you can't reach either, you've got your belt or your towel to sort of loop around if you prefer that way. Yeah. And then same thing, we want to imagine that we've got that left hand on the left inner thigh, pressing that left thigh away. Again, I'm flexing the feet, you choose whether that helps you. And I'm just going to start to rock a little bit more towards the right as I inhale. And then back to center as I exhale. I'm having to go slower here, just because it feels like I might topple over to the right if I don't, yeah? So you're only sort of going to the right on the inhalation. And exhaling back to center. And you might sort of find, as you do it more, that your body starts to feel safer, and you might be able to roll a little bit more towards the right. I don't want you to go all the way. It's kind of like working with balance in a slightly different way. It's letting your body sort of work out what's happening. Your body's having a relationship to gravity. And again, I'm trying to keep the weight of the body sinking down into the floor. So that relationship between gravity, the weight of the body, and the floor is massaging that tissue along the right side of the lower back. Definitely now my body's starting to sort of feel, you know, that movement's okay. I'm getting to the right a little bit more. And I don't want to rush. I could do this really fast and, you know, like, but I feel more when I slow down. It's like a little journey each time. I'm feeling all those little sensations, little micro movements. It's like sometimes when you're having a massage and it's rushed, sometimes it's nicer when it's just slow. Okay, and then finally for the last one, we are going to rock all the way over towards that right side so that that left foot may come all the way down towards the floor. I'm just going to shuffle a little bit over to the left so I can get that foot to the floor. If your foot doesn't get to the floor, you've got blocks, you've got bolsters that you can put underneath that foot or the outside of the right thigh. Now, I've noticed now that my arm isn't over the blanket, so I'm just going to shuffle my body a little bit more towards the top of the mat so I can get that left shoulder down, yeah? And so I'm still working with the roll around this left, around the rib cage, but now I'm adding that twist and the hip stretch at the same time. Now here what I'm going to do is on an inhalation, or what I should say is that we're going to inhale naturally, and then I'm going to hold the breath just a little bit and then exhale and start to extend the exhalation. So I'm inhaling naturally through the nose, still feeling like that left thigh is being sort of pressed away from me. It shouldn't be sort of tucking in towards me too much. And on the exhalation, then perhaps that left thigh presses a little bit further away. I'm going to add a head roll just because I feel like the neck needs to move. So on the inhalation, I'm going to roll the head towards the left, towards that left hand. And then as I exhale, slowly bringing that head back towards the center. And we're going to do that a couple more times. So we're going to inhale, roll the head to the left, look towards the left fingertips. Pause. Shall we start to smile? And then on the exhalation, extending the exhalation as the head comes back towards the center. And again, inhaling, head rolls towards the left. Work at your own pace if you need to. Pause in, that little cheeky smile, and then exhaling, allowing that sort of endorphin, that happiness, that joy to spread into the tissues of the body. Laughter is allowed, by the way, yeah? If you start laughing, even better. Inhaling, the head rolls towards the left. Start to smile. And then exhaling, the head back towards the center. Okay, just do one more on your own. Maybe if you wanted to also add that visualization whilst you start to smile of that light building within. Okay, I'm going to bring the hips slowly back towards the center. I'm then going to uncross that ankle. I'm going to stretch the legs out. Just bring the arms out to the side. I'm just going to feel the difference between the left side and the right side, because they're starting to feel pretty different. You know, how do they feel different for you? Does one feel more spacious? Does one feel more in contact with the one side, rather feel more in contact with the blanket or with the floor? Do you feel like you're breathing more into one side? Does one shoulder feel more in contact with the floor than the other? Have you got more sensation in one side? And then let's bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet to the floor. And then let's work with the other side. So I'm going to bring that right ankle to the top of that left knee, flexing the foot, right hand to the inner right thigh. Just going to press that right thigh away just a little bit, just a gentle, little bit of pressure. And then on the inhalation, I'm just going to start to roll the hips a little bit towards the left. Just feeling the connective tissue massaging against the floor. And exhaling back towards the center. Now I'm noticing that already I'm starting to slow down. I think we sort of like function at such a fast speed in life. You know, it's like when we break up for Christmas, you know, like the Christmas holidays, or we go on holiday, it takes us a while to slow down. And again, the point here isn't to get somewhere, isn't to go somewhere, it's just to notice. So just noticing the sensations. The more weight I can give my body to the floor, so the more I sort of like imagine there's a dial and turn up gravity, the more I can then start to feel that massage-like sensation around the lower back, the top of the back of the hip, the pelvis, the sacrum, all of that part of the body. If I'm using like anatomical words that you don't understand, just try, just have a look at the sacrum, have a look at the back of the pelvis, have a look at the lower back and all the different muscles and bones that are there. Okay, so you can either continue doing that, just going a little bit further each time, or if you wanted to take it, increase the sensation, rather you can lift the left foot up off the floor, either bring the hands to the back of that left hamstring, front of the left shin, or you could use the strap if you wanted to. And again, I'm flexing the feet, I just prefer it that way. And then I'm rolling. Again, it feels a little bit more precarious here, so I'm just going very slowly so I don't tip over towards all the way to the floor just yet. And I'm working with the breath. I'm inhaling to roll towards the left a little bit and exhaling back to center. But you're welcome to try the other way around. So just like what I'm doing now is I'm comparing the different sides. So this side feels a little bit more, it's not so easy for me to control. It's a little bit more clunky. Feels a little bit more like, there's more tension maybe in the left side of the lower back, and that's just my experience of it. So what are you experiencing? Are you able to go further to the left? Have you got more balance this side? You might have more movement, but then it might be more difficult to get back to center this side, or easier to get back to center. Remember that right thigh is still pressing away from you. And again, you're not trying to sort of get anywhere, go anywhere, you're just experiencing, yeah? You're trying to feel and experience all those little sensations around the outer or the left side of the lower back, perhaps a little bit of the left outer hip. I'm also feeling stuff in my outer right hip as well. So, there's no right or wrong, it's just you tuning in. Okay, and then this time I'm going to roll all the way over to the left side. So my left hand's going to come on top of that right foot. So as this side of facing the camera, this is where if you wanted to, you could place, you could have like a few piles of books there for your leg. You could have like a big cushion underneath your thigh. So you might just be here, that's fine, yeah? I like to hold the foot just because then it sort of like anchors it down towards the floor. And that right thigh is reaching towards the front of the mat. My right arm is going over the blanket. Once again, I've gone a little bit too far towards the bottom of the mat, so I'm shuffling up a little bit, getting that, so that arm is between or over the roll, yeah? The right arm is over the roll, so it's opening up the chest, opening up the armpit. And then we're holding that there. It's a little bit more stationary this time. But then we're going to add the head movement, aren't we? So on the inhalation, we're rolling the head to look towards the right fingertips, the right side. And on the exhalation, rolling the head slowly back towards the center. So it's similar to what we were doing with the back of the hips, yeah? But now we're feeling the back of the skull getting massaged. I'm feeling it being massaged along the block. You might be feeling it massaged along the floor. And remembering that we're trying to extend that exhalation. So you inhale, rolling the head to the side, pause a little bit, exhaling, slowly bringing the head back towards the center. If you wanted to add that smile when you pause, that little cheeky grin, and then exhaling, just allowing those endorphins, that happiness, that joy to spread through the body. It's kind of like what Christmas is about, spreading joy and happiness. And that might be the biggest gift you can give to yourself. And then if you wanted to add that visualization of light, so you're inhaling, rolling the head towards one side, towards the right side rather, and then pausing, adding that smile, visualizing that light as you exhale, allowing that light and that joy to spread through the tissues of the body as you roll the head back towards the center. And again, I'm really enjoying starting to slow down now. At first it was difficult, it felt weird. Now it feels great. Okay. And then stay there all day. Yeah, I'm not going to bring the hips back to center, release that right foot, slide the legs out, have the arms above the roll. Just take a moment just to land again, just to experience and feel all those little subtle changes in the body. So, you might start to get warm parts, you might start to get cool parts. Sometimes I can feel like the blood rushes around in the body. Sometimes the breath starts to breathe a little bit differently. Sometimes different parts of the body might be more in contact with the floor, less in contact with the floor. What are you experiencing? What are you noticing? Okay, there we're going to bring the knee, bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. I'm just going to roll over, either side will do, so that we can remove that blanket from underneath your chest. I'm also going to remove the block as well. If you want the blanket from underneath your head, you're welcome to use that. And then we're rolling back onto our back. And we'll take another moment just to pause, just to reflect. Now I've got no roll, I've got no sort of block under my head, I've just got the floor, just me and the floor, and I'm landing, yeah? Floor's always got you, yeah? If ever you fall, the floor's there to catch you. Okay, so then we're going to bend. Let's do the left knee again. So bring the left foot to the floor, left sole of the foot to the floor, left knee points up towards the ceiling. I'm going to bend that left elbow out to the left side just a little bit so it's relaxed. Should be on the floor, hopefully. If it's not, you could put the blanket underneath your left elbow for support or just have it hovering if you prefer. And then we're just going to start on an inhalation, pressing down through the left foot and lifting the left buttock just a little bit up off the floor. So the work is in the foot pushing down. My left side of the lower back is starting to lift, and then I'm slowly rolling back down. So we want to feel those different parts of the tissue connecting to the floor and lifting away from the floor. So on the inhalation, pressing down into the left foot, the left buttock lifts up a little bit. That left knee starts to go a little bit over towards the right and forward towards that right foot, getting that stretch through the front of the right thigh, and then slowly rolling down. I want to try and feel each rib, the back of each rib as it lowers down towards the floor over time. Yeah. And then I'm going to add the roll of the head. So as the left knee lifts up, I'm rolling the head towards the left. So look at that left elbow or left forearm. And exhaling, slowly rolling back down towards the floor, head back to center. Now at the moment I'm keeping, just continue that movement, I'm keeping that left shoulder down towards the floor. You might want to again work with that extended exhalation. So head rolls to the left, left knee sort of reaching towards the right and forward as if it's reaching towards that right foot. And then if you wanted to add a little bit more, as you press into the left foot and the left knee goes forward, the left fingertips can slide a little bit further away from that left knee. Now my shoulder starts to lift up a little bit, so I'm getting more of a stretch. And then the shoulder comes back down, the elbow slides down a little bit, and maybe that side of the lower back, the hip. I've got my other right hand on the belly, but it could be wherever you like. It could be over to the right side. So again, the head's rolling to the left. I'm going to lift my left elbow up a little bit this time. So I've just got the back of the left fingers, the knuckles on the floor, and then back down. You could stay working with the shoulder on the floor if you wanted to. You might want to try rolling the head to the right this time to see how that feels, and does that help you to get a little bit more roll? So I'm practically on the right side of my body, and then rolling back down. And again, we're just rolling in order to massage the tissue and also to inquire as to our relationship with gravity in the floor. You could alternate, you could have your head going to the left one side one time and then to the right another. Again, at the moment I'm trying to keep the little toe side of the foot in contact with the floor. It's up to you if you want to experiment with the little toe lifting. Again, remembering to slide the elbow away from the knee as the knee slides away from the elbow. On the inhalation and then on the exhalation, how slowly can we allow the tissue of the body to come in contact with the floor, bit by bit, bit by bit, bit by bit. Let's do one more. And then I'm going to slide that left leg out, bring the left arm back down towards the side. Take a moment to pause and feel the difference between left side and right side. Compare the two sides. And again, what are you experiencing? A sense of what? What would you describe? This is what we call interoception. It's a felt experience of, like whether something feels lighter or brighter or more spacious or heavier, or more in contact with the floor, less in contact with the floor? Does it feel more energized? What does that mean? And then let's work the same thing with the other side. So the right knee bends, right foot on the floor, right knee points up towards the ceiling, right elbow is bending towards the right side. We want this to be comfortable. So use your blanket underneath the right elbow, or just let the right elbow hover if that is comfortable. Start small, so just start by pressing into that right foot and reaching that right knee forward, so the right buttock and the right hip lifts a little bit up off the floor and then lowers back down. And don't expect this side to be the same as the other side. Just imagine that you've never experienced this side before, so it's just something really new. You don't know what's coming up, you're just sort of trying to have those fresh, curious awareness, that inquisitiveness. And keeping that right shoulder on the floor. My body's telling me when it's fine to go a little bit further. It's almost like it naturally starts to loosen up, to want to go a little bit more forward. It's almost like the tissue becomes more curious. We can add the rolling of the head to the right as we inhale. And the rolling of the head back to center as we exhale, and we're slowing that exhalation down and feeling each part of the tissue landing into the floor. So for me, I'm noticing again there's that same rolling sensation or rocking sensation, both of the weight of the skull, but also, now I'm sort of tipping the weight into the left side of the pelvis, left side of the hip, or the outer hip, and then it rolls back. I'm getting that same massage-like feeling and sensation around the lower back and the back of the pelvis. Now, option to start to stretch the right fingertips away from the right knee. The right shoulder might lift up off the floor a little bit, it might not. I'm just going to start by lifting the shoulder just a little bit. The next time you might start to lift the elbow. But keep, some part of the fingertip or some part of the back of the hand in contact with the floor. The right arm doesn't have to be straight. You're just sort of feeling the distance increase between the fingertips, the right fingertips and the right knee. And then that right elbow slides back down on the exhalation. You could try rolling your head to the left as you inhale to see if that helps you to roll more to the left. And again, what can you feel? This side for me, the shoulder feels completely different. It feels a little bit more achy. Feels less mobile. It might be different for you. You might want to alternate which way the head rolls. And you're thinking about extending that exhalation. You might experiment with whether or not the little toe side of the foot lifts away from the floor as that right knee moves towards that left foot. And what's it like if you keep the little toe side of the foot down? What's it like if you allow the little toe side of the foot to lift? And doing one or two more on your own. Okay, I'm going to slide that right leg out, slide the right arm back down towards the side. Take a moment just to land back into the floor. Now, the eyes can be closed or open. I like to close the eyes, and what we're trying to do is connect to our inner experience, our inner sense of what it's like to be in our bodies. It's like we're starting to reconnect the mind to ourselves, to our experience of being in this body. Okay, then we're going to bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. This is when you're going to need your belt or your towel or your scarf. And let's start with the left side again. So we're going to bring the left knee towards the chest, loop the belt around the ball of the left foot. You could also loop it around the heel. I'm not a big fan on the arch for some reason. I just think that like we preferably need to learn to push more through the ball of the foot or the heel. Ball of the foot is just below the toes. If the leg straightens, great. If it doesn't, you want to work with the knee bent, that's also fine. Or you could take the foot further away from you so that that leg straightens out a bit more. If you are wearing Christmas socks, yeah, and they're slippy, just be careful. Mine have got grips on so that they work with the belt. Yeah. And what we're going to look at now is we're going to start to rotate the thigh in the socket. Yeah, so we're not just sort of turning the foot. What I want to feel is on the inhalation, I'm rotating the left thigh and the left knee towards the left, and then on the exhalation, I'm rotating the thigh and the knee towards the right. So I'm just trying to get again to feel that sensation of the thigh bone moving in the socket, like we were feeling the sensation of the rocking and rolling of the pelvis and the head. If you are able and it feels comfortable to stretch that right leg out in front of you, then great, you can go ahead and do that. I'm adding the breath, I'm inhaling and externally rotating the legs, so turning the thigh and the knee to the left, and exhaling, turning the knee and the thigh towards the right. And I just want to feel what feels good. For me, I definitely feel like it likes to externally to rotate out towards the left. Doesn't like to rotate in as much. It feels like there's less movement, but yours might be the opposite. I know my other leg is the opposite. And then I'm just going to find where it feels comfortable. Then I'm going to take the left leg out to the left. So I'm not going to get it to the floor. I don't even want to get it to the floor. I'm going to bring the block quite close towards the hip. Here's where you could use a cushion or like a pile of books, or you could have a chair and rest your foot against the chair. Yeah, so I'm not looking for a massive stretch. I'm just opening this left hip and it's comfortable. Yeah. Now what we're going to work with is the other side. So the right hand reaches above the head again, and then what I want to try and do on the inhalation is stretch the right heel and the right fingertips away from each other. And then as I exhale, I'm just relaxing. So it's like I'm lengthening the right side of the body on the inhalation, and then that slow exhalation feels like it's shrinking back in again. So we're just sort of getting that nice pulsation, that sliding of the tissue. You could, if you wanted to, try sort of pointing your toes and sliding your toes away from your fingers. I don't see why not. But really we want to sort of feel that extension and contraction of the right side of the body. So we're lengthening and shortening the right side of the body with the breath. And then let's bring that left leg back up towards the ceiling. Then I'm going to take that left leg over to the right side. So again, we are rolling, so similar to what we did before, but we're twisting as well, so I'm keeping that left shoulder in contact with the floor. Now I've got the wall there, yeah, because it's there, because I can't get rid of it, yeah. But if you haven't got the wall, you could put your block underneath your shin, underneath your sort of inner calf, your inner thigh, underneath your ankle. Yeah, so again, I'm not going for massive, big stretch. I'm just sort of going for, medium, mild, that sort of thing. And here's when we're going to start to roll the head again. So we're going to inhale and roll the head towards the left, to look towards the left fingertips, and then exhaling, rolling the head back towards the center. So let's remember our breathing practice. So we're inhaling naturally through the nose. There's a little pause after the inhalation. And then we're exhaling and trying to extend that exhalation. Inhaling, rolling the head to the left. Pause. Can we smile rather than grimace? And exhaling, filling the body with that joy, those endorphins. And just do a few more of those. We won't be here too much longer. Inhaling, head rolls to the left. Think about the weight of the head. Pausing, a little smile to oneself. Imagine that light filling your body as you exhale, spreading the light and the joy. Let's do one more. Okay, left leg back up towards the ceiling. Now, I'm going to bend that right knee, bring the right foot to the floor, because I'm going to try and bring that left leg a little bit closer towards me, either with the belt, or some of you might be able to grab the calf or the back of the thigh. Yep, and again, we'll just continue to inhale, pause. Can we smile? Relax the shoulders. Can we exhale slowly, filling our body with joy and light? And don't go too far. If you've gone too far, you can always hold the belt, you can always bring that leg a little bit further away. Think about the weight of the sacrum and the weight in the back of the pelvis still being in contact with the floor. It might help just to slightly turn the thigh to the left or turn the thigh to the right. Feel into it. One more time, inhaling. Pause, and we smile. You imagine light in the body as you exhale, filling the body with joy and light. And then let's release the belt. Just slide the legs out. Let's take a moment just to feel and experience what's the difference between the two sides. Does one leg feel longer than the other? Does one hip feel more open than the other? What about the foot? Does the angle of the foot vary? Does one foot feel like it's turned out more? How's the shoulders? How's the back of the spine? How's the back of the head? Do they feel different? How's the breath? Let's do the other side. So I'm going to start with both knees bent, both soles of the feet on the floor. I'm going to loop the belt over the ball of the right foot and stretch that right leg up towards the ceiling. Rather than holding the belt, so I see sometimes people hold the belt with the elbows bent. If you straighten the arms and hold the belt quite close towards the foot with the arms sort of straight, you can then just allow the back of the shoulders to drop into the floor. Then you don't have to grip the belt, you're just allowing the weight of the arms to sort of like give that light bit of pressure. And remember, your foot might be out over here, you might have to have the knee bent, that's fine. What we want is to keep that sort of lower back and the sacrum and the back of the pelvis in contact with the floor. And then we go to that rotation of the thigh, so taking the thigh and the knee, I'm sort of spinning it in the socket towards the right on the inhalation, and I'm trying to rotate it to the left as I exhale, and I'm doing it slowly so I can start to feel the bones moving in the socket and the muscles starting to move and the connective tissue starting to move. So it's like when we were rocking, the slower we go, the more information we can start to feel. So we're just starting to hear again, we're starting to listen, we're starting to connect to the language of the body, which is sensation. Again, I'm inhaling and rotating the leg to the right and exhaling, rotating the leg to the left. You could try the other way around if you wanted to. You're just sort of trying to think, how does this compare to the other side? And what's it like if we straighten that left leg? Can we straighten the left leg? If it's sort of half straight, half bent, just bend it. Just have the foot on the floor. body will open up naturally over time and practice and patience. You never want to force it to do anything that it's not able to do yet, because then it's like 2 steps backwards. Took me many years to work that one out. Okay, so I'm finding that sort of comfortable position. Then I'm holding the belt in the right hand, the legs going out to the right. Joy of joy, I have a wall there, but you can have your block, your bolster, your bit of furniture, just to prop the leg up. Remember, it's opening up this right side of the hip, but we're going to focus on this left side. So the left hand reaches above the head. On an inhalation, I'm trying to stretch my left heel, left fingertips away from each other. So I'm getting length through the left side, and then as I exhale, I'm sort of shrinking it, I'm contracting it a little bit. So I'm working with this sort of like lengthening and contraction on the left side. Remembering we're inhaling naturally through the nose, but we want to extend the exhalation, because what I'm interested in is when the tissue starts to relax again, shrink again, make contact with the floor. So again, if you're a person that always goes like 100%, what's it like if you start to just sort of experiment with only going 70% or 60%? What happens if you do less? If you're, one of the lazy people, which, most of us are, what happens if we push a little bit further, or we put the effort up like maybe 2% or 5% more? We can always dial it back down. But, just try something new, try a different way, so that we start to feel things and have a different experience. Okay, let's bring that right leg back up towards the ceiling. Now we're going to take it into the twist. I haven't got a wall this time, so I'm going to take the block, and then, so I'm rolling over to that left side of the hip. That's fine, we practiced rolling before, but the right arm is going to reach out towards the right. Head is up towards the ceiling. On an inhalation, I'm rolling the head to look towards the right fingertips. And on the exhalation, I'm rolling the head back to look towards the ceiling. So the hips are stationary, but the neck is moving now. And also, like when I'm moving or rolling the head backwards and forwards, I'm also sort of feeling how that affects the shoulders. Let's remember our breathing. So we're inhaling naturally, head rolls towards the right, pausing, starting to smile, exhaling, extending the exhalation, allowing that joy, that happiness, those endorphins to spread through our entire experience. And if you wanted to add that visualization of light, so you're inhaling just naturally, no need to exaggerate the inhalation, pausing, adding the smile, adding the light, as you exhale, feeling your experience with joy and light. A couple more on your own. And then after your next exhalation, slowly bringing that right leg back up towards the ceiling. Up to you if you keep that left leg bent. I'm going to bend the left knee just for ease, and then see if that right leg will go a little bit closer, but without lifting the right buttock up. I want to keep the right side of the lower back towards the floor for today, yeah? And then either holding back of the calf, back of the hamstring maybe, or the belt. Now remembering the breath, yeah? So can we inhale naturally, pause, smile, exhaling, allowing that smile, the light to spread through the entire body. A couple more breaths. Pause, add the smile, visualize the light. Long, slow exhalation. One more. So remember, it doesn't really matter what you're doing now. Yeah? This is just an experience. And then after that next exhalation, you can remove the belt, slide the legs out, arms down by the sides. Take a moment to pause, just to notice. Again, this for me is the important part, yeah, not the movement, not the stretching. Yeah, this is the important part because this is when we notice change. This is when we reconnect to that inner experience of change within. Okay, let's bend the knees, let's bring the soles of the feet to the floor. We're going to roll over to the right side. You might have to look at your screen for this. And then the left hand, we're going to slide with the back of the hand towards mine's going to be sort of towards the mid-back. Yeah, for you, it might be somewhere out towards the side. Some of you that are more flexible might be able to comfortably get that back of the left hand more towards the center of the shoulders. Yeah, so it's like the cow face pose. Then we're going to slowly roll back. So now that hand, perhaps a little bit of the forearm, is sandwiched between your ribs and the floor. Yeah, so we're going to massage the hand. Now I'm noticing I've got quite a high arch in my lower back, so I'm just going to press through the feet, lift the hips, flatten the lower back a little bit more and bring it back down. Yeah. The right hand then is going to go stretch above the head. I'm going to bend the right elbow, and then as if the right fingertips are trying to touch the left fingertips. They won't for most of us, don't worry. And then I'm resting the head on the back of the forearm, yeah? So here we are, yeah? I'm going to take the feet then nice and wide, about as wide as the mat. And to start with, what I'm going to do is on the inhalation, I'm rolling the knees, rolling the pelvis towards the right. So it's helping me to get that left shoulder more towards the floor. And then I'm exhaling. Knees back to center. Let's do that a few more times. So I'm inhaling and feel then the sort of weight of the ribs changing, sort of squishing my fingers into the floor a bit more, and exhaling back to the center. I'm going to try the head as well. So as I inhale, the head's going to roll towards the left, and the knees roll towards the right. Again, I'm thinking about the back of the skull, the back of the ribs, the back of the hips, experiencing that movement and the relationship of gravity, the floor, and the weight of the body. So all of this is sort of massaging the tissue. Now I'm going to try the other side, for the knees. So the arms stay where they are, but on an inhalation, what happens if I take the knees over towards the left? Ooh, that's different. Yeah. And then exhaling back towards the center. And what happens as the knees go to the left if I turn my head towards the right? So it's kind of massaging my hand, it's massaging my forearm, it's massaging my ribs, it's massaging my hips. It's massaging the back of the skull, it's massaging the right arm as well, where the head is rolling along there. And then I'm going to go side to side. So on the next inhalation, knees go to right, head goes to left. Exhaling slowly back to center, experiencing, feeling, noticing. And then inhaling, knees to the left, head to the right. Exhaling slowly, noticing, there's no rush, just feeling all those different micro movements of the tissue. I'm going to do one more each side. Knees to right, head to left. It's similar to what we were doing at the beginning, but now we're using our arms underneath rather than blankets underneath. Knees to left, head to right, and then back to center. So we're going to roll the knees to the right, we're going to roll all the way over to the right. Stretch that left arm up towards the ceiling and just draw a few big circles with that left shoulder just to get the blood circulation back, and then just give that hand and the arm a bit of a shake. Yeah. Let's go back to lying on the floor, just experiencing the difference between the left and the right. And then let's do the other side. So bending the knees, feet to the floor. So we're rolling to the left, that right arm, remember, the elbow bends, you're getting the back of that right hand somewhere between the middle of the spine, maybe between the shoulders. And then carefully rolling back, so we're sandwiching that hand, maybe a bit of the forearm between the ribs and the floor. Again, I'm noticing the high arch in my lower back, so I'm just pressing through the feet, flattening the lower back a little bit more so that I'm not arching too much. That helps me, the weight of the body then to press a little bit more into the arm, helps the shoulder to open. The top arm reaches above the head and bending the left elbow. I'm imagining those left fingertips trying to get between the shoulder blades. Back of the head is resting on the forearm. You might have the back of the head resting on the hand. We want the elbows, both elbows really to be sort of working to drop towards the floor as much as possible. So let's start by taking the feet wide, dropping the knees to the left on the inhalation, and then bringing the knees back towards the center on the exhalation. So back to that roll, yeah? So it's like we're rolling the weight, so I've got no weight on the right buttock now, and all of the weight in the outer left hip as I inhale, and then I'm rolling the weight back slowly to the left side of the lower back, then the middle, then the right side, then center. At the head, so if you wanted to, you can roll the head towards the right as the knees go towards the left. Slowing the exhalation down, because that's when we start to notice the different parts of the body making contact with the floor. A couple more, knees to left, head to right. See what happens when you bring the knees to the right. So again, I'm going to go slowly. I'm not assuming it's going to be the same. Feels completely different, particularly on that right arm, right shoulder. Back towards the center on the exhalation. Knees going to right, maybe rotating the head to the left. To make the exhalation and the movement back towards the center longer than the movement away from center. Go side to side, so then alternate, so as the head goes through the right, knees go towards the left on an inhalation. Exhale slowly back towards the center. And then knees to the right as the head rolls towards the left. Head, knees, slowly back to center. Again, as you go side to side, rather than thinking, it's about how far you go, all you're trying to do is noticing, all of the different parts of the tissue that are being massaged, all of the different sensations. I can feel bones moving, I can feel muscles moving, I can feel connective tissue moving. Feel, like pulsation. Sometimes my body jitters a little bit in certain positions. What can you feel? What can you notice? Again, there's nowhere to go. You're just here, just experiencing your body. Reconnecting to sensation, reuniting your awareness to sensation. Next time the knees go to the left, we're going to roll over to the left to release that right arm, stretching that right arm up towards the ceiling, drawing a few big circles with the arm in one direction and then the other. Giving that hand, that arm a bit of a shake, and then once again just rolling back onto your back. Feeling good. One last pose, yeah. We're going to do bridge with a block, but if these blocks are quite hard, if you wanted to, you could just use a cushion or a bolster, or several cushions stacked up. So you're going to bend the knees, press the feet down, lift the hips up, sliding the block or the cushion or the bolster underneath the back of the pelvis. So it's not going in the lower back, it's just underneath the back of the hips. Yeah, so the bum, the upper buttocks are resting on the block, and that's it. Yeah. We're then just going to bring the arms either out to the side or above the head if you prefer. Feet a little bit further away from the block, I find helps me to then stop using my feet and to allow the actual pelvis to drop, the weight of the pelvis to drop into the block. And before we completely relax, what we're going to try and do on the inhalation is to push down through the feet as if you're about to lift your bum up. Yeah, but we're not going to lift it up. We just want you to feel that then the feet can engage, the ankles can engage, the knees, the thighs, the hips are engaging a little bit, and then I'm just going to relax on that exhalation. So I'm feeling the difference between when my muscles engage and when they relax. I'm just going to press through the feet. Imagine that I'm about to lift the bum up. Sometimes it's fun to imagine that you're about to lift it up, but someone stuck it to the block and it's sort of like you're trying to lift it up, and then that's creating that tension in the muscles. But it's been stuck down, and then you relax. And feeling like how you can sort of control how much tension you have in the body. So as you push through the feet, I can have like 50% tension, I can have 60, I can have 70, I can have 80. I could be really working 100% to try and get that bum off the block, but it's stuck down with super glue. So I can feel all that engagement in the muscles of the hips and the legs. And then I can just as easily can I go from 100% to 90 to 80 to 70 to 60 to 50 to 40 to 30 to 20 to 10% effort to no effort. And then just finding a position that's comfortable with your bum resting on the block. Closing the eyes, remembering your breath as you inhale for 4, hold the breath, smile as you exhale for about the count of 8, slowing the breath down. So you're inhaling for about 4, Keep it natural, don't force anything. Pausing, smiling, exhaling, extending that exhalation. Two more on your own. Remember that smile, that cheeky smile, like someone just told you a really silly joke. You want to really experience that joy, that laughter, the endorphins that come with it as you exhale. Allow the joy to really soak into your tissues. And then we're going to press down through the feet. This time we are going to lift the bum up just enough to slide the block from underneath you, and then slowly lower the spine down. Can you count to 5 maybe to lower the spine down, rather than just, some of you just lowered it down, maybe 10. Can you take 10 seconds to lower the spine down? And then slowly slide the legs out. If you'd like a blanket over you for your relaxation, now would be a good time just to place a blanket over you. If you want anything warmer, if you want to sort of wrap up in your duvet, or what you need just to really land. And I'm just going to hold the space for you so that I'm going to be here, and I'll bring you back out of that relaxation in about 3-4 minutes. Get really comfortable, make sure you're warm. And if you want to just lie there and just experience your body and gravity and the sensations, that's fine. Also, you could lie there and work with your inhalation, pause, smile, the light, the exhalation, that finding your inner light, finding your light, finding your joy. As you reconnect to that inner experience of you.
Longing for someone you
before you start to move again, just allowing a natural inhalation, a pause where you smile, maybe even laugh, feel your body, connect to your light, and that long exhalation, filling your body with light, laughter, and joy. And then bringing familiar movements to your fingers, to your toes, and decide what you'd like to do. Would you like to have a big stretch, from your fingers to your toes? Do you want to stretch the back of the body, front of the body? Can you do like a body yawn where you're stretching and contracting the muscles all at the same time, like an animal would? Yeah. And then just finding a way to roll over to one side and pressing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. You can sit cross-legged if you like, you can sit your legs out in front of you, you could also sit on a chair or on the edge of your bed. And just taking a moment, because you have been lying down for a good hour, and sometimes it's just good just to allow your nervous system to be back up vertical again. Let's just rest the hands on the knees or the thighs or in the lap and close the eyes. And what I'd like you to do is just to think of one thing to be grateful for in your life. One thing that you're grateful for. And then I'd like you to think of one act that you could do, one act of kindness that you could give to another person. Whether it's something as simple as smiling at a stranger next time you're walking down the road, whether it's offering a favour to a friend, or buying a gift for somebody, is one act of kindness. And let's take one last breath together, in through the nose, holding, smiling, connecting or visualizing to the light. As you exhale, just allow that lightness, the laughter, the joy, the light to spread through every cell of your being. As you allow the eyes to open. And thank you. And if you've missed my classes, I have a subscription available. There's an offer below with a voucher which will run out on the 1st of January. So that's my gift to you, a class and a voucher. Thank you for all of your continued support, and I hope to see you very soon. Take care.